everyone, welcome to Book and Screen, the podcast where your favorite stories leap off the page and onto the big screen. I am Zaibel, your host for today.
And I am Janine. Thanks for tuning in with us. Whether you're a bookworm, a movie buff, or just someone who loves a good story, you're definitely in the right place.
For today's episode, we're diving into a true phenomenon. He's Into Her, a Wattpad story that became a series, a movie, and a major fan movement.
And we're not doing this alone. Joining us today are two amazing guests who live and breathe this story from the start.
Hi everyone, I'm Viana. I was a His Into Her fan way before it even became a series. I'm super excited to talk about it today.
And I'm Leonard. I discovered He's Into Her during its early Wattpad days and even reread it. Like, oh my god, it's so amazing. And I love the story because even before the adaptation came out, it's really cool and I love it so much.
Alright, let's start at the very beginning. Brianna, can you tell our listeners what His Into Her is all about?
Of course, Janine. So, His Into Her is a Wattpad story written by Maxine Gigi, and it centers around Max Payne's Zindel Valle. She's this tough, independent girl from Mindoro who suddenly has to move to Manila after her estranged fathers pull her into his world. She ends up transferring to South Bay Academy, a super elite school, and that's where everything begins to shift.
Yeah. From day one, she clashes with Deb and Riley. Like, he's this basically an alpha male type of person. He's cool, parang bad boy. And he's really hot. He's popular and confident. And honestly, at first, she's kind of like a bit like a jerk, you know? This bully type of attitude. But as the story progresses, they get off to a really rocky road from the start, and Max Payne isn't afraid to stand up to him. As the story goes on, you see their dynamics start to change. They go from enemies to reluctant allies to something much, much more deeper, like lovers.
I really love how Maxine and Gigi portrayed their personalities. Max Payne wasn't your cliche quiet girl who instantly falls for the hot guy. She had this fire in her. She's sarcastic, witty, and she has this inner strength because of everything she's been through.
Right, Zybel? And Deb isn't just some shallow bad boy either. He's dealing with his own traumas, especially when he lost his brother. So sad. So when these two characters who both carry a heavy emotional baggage are forced to interact, it becomes more than just killing moments. It becomes this journey of healing from both of them. Like, nice character development and all that, you know? I can take a lesson from that.
And what I found powerful was how Max Payne was navigating not just a new school, but an entirely new world. From being an average girl in the province to suddenly being surrounded by rich, judgmental, and privileged teens. It's a culture shock, and you could feel that tension so clearly through Maxine's writing.
Yes, Zaibel, and South Bay Academy wasn't just a setting. It became almost like a character in the story. It represented the gap between Max Payne and everyone else. But despite feeling out of place, she stayed true to herself. She didn't try to fit in. She made the people around her change.
I also love how the story didn't revolve entirely around the romance. Like, yeah, we're all here for Max Payne Dave tension, but Maxine and Gigi also tackled serious topics like family issues, betrayal, grief, identity, and even self-worth.
Oh my god, right. And the friendship, Max's relationship with the people like Michiko, Randall, and Lorde showed that even the toughest people need a tribe. It was such a realistic portrayal of how you slowly find people who see the real you.
Aw, exactly, Leonard. Max Payne's journey isn't just about falling in love with Dave. It's about her slowly letting herself be vulnerable, forgiving her dad, and finding a sense of home again, even in a place she once hated.
That's what makes it more than a love story. It's a coming of age novel that hits you right in the gut.
And what's amazing is that despite being written on Wattpad, It had that level of emotional depth and storytelling that really stuck with the readers. Now, fast forward to 2021, the story comes to life through a full-blown TV series. Leonard, could you walk us through how He's Into Her made it slip from page to screen?
Sure thing, Zaibel. So, He's Into Her was adapted by ABS-CBN in collaboration with I Want TFC, and it really became a game changer in the Filipino team series scene. Like, as a viewer myself, I really loved it, and it was really interesting to watch. It was directed by Chad Vidanes, thanks Chad Vidanes, and starred none other than Donnie Pangilinan. Donnie Pangilinan, very hot, very handsome young man, and Bel Mariano, who's really, really pretty and beautiful, and later became one of the hottest love teams in the country, starred by Don Bell. Oh yeah, and they started with 10 episodes first season, which dropped on I Want TFC. The hype, very insane, and even the pilot episode crashed the app because so many people were tuning in. Eventually, because of its massive success, they piled the series into a movie cut version for streaming and reruns.
Oh, yes, and exactly. The casting was Chef.
He is very chef kiss.
Yeah, Donnie and Belle didn't just play Dave and Max Payne. They were Dave and Max Payne.
Plus, the set design and styling really elevated everything, from the school uniforms to the aesthetic of the classroom, cafeteria, and even the parties. It was so visual appealing and made fans want to be part of that world.
And let's not forget the music. Oh my god, I really love the music. It's so addicting. It's so pleasant. The original soundtrack has a total vibe. He's Into Her by BGYO became an anthem for the whole series. Every time it played in the background of the scene, it really added extra waves of emotion and excitement to the movie.
Exactly, Leonard. And not just the main theme song. Every music cue was well placed, from intense confrontation to slow burn romantic scenes. The soundtrack knew how to make you feel everything.
Another thing that was smart was how they modernized the story for today's generation. The original Wattpad version started in the early 2010s, so bringing in social media, blogs, memes, even TikTok challenges made the story feel super current and relatable.
Right, Zybel, like it wasn't just a high school story anymore. It felt like it was happening in our world. They made sure that Gen Z would connect to the characters, not just through dialogue, but through culture.
And you could tell that the creators put a lot of love into making the adaptation faithful to the book, while also enhancing in it. They added subplots, developed side characters like Michiko and Randall more, and gave us deeper scenes with Dave's family too.
Yes, and it worked because even fans of the original stories who already knew what was going to happen still tuned in every week and get emotional over again.
That's when you know an adaptation is successful. It becomes more than just a retelling, it becomes an own experience. Now, let's dive into one of our favorite parts of this podcast. How was the book different from the series? Because, as we all know, no adaptation is exact the same.
Ooh, yeah, there's quite a lot to unpack. So first off, in the book, the pacing was a lot slower, especially the classic enemies to build up type of thing. It like took time for Max Payne and Dave to even tolerate each other. You could feel every eye roll, every sarcastic exchange, every shift in how they saw each other. In the series, since they had to fit so much into limited episodes, they sped it up. They sped things up a little. I think I observed the tensions was still there. Don't get me wrong, but it escalated more quickly. Some scenes that really highlighted Max Payne's emotional layers, especially her struggles with her past, where they're condensed or left out.
Yes, exactly, Leonard. Like Max's backstory in Mindoro. In the book, you really lived through her quiet life in the province. The routine, the sense of home, the pain of leaving behind her grandparents and friends. That was such an important part of who she was. But in the series, those scenes were shortened to make way for the school drama.
And something I noticed too in the book Max Payne's grief over her mom's death was a central part of her personality. It made her closed off, defensive, even a little aggressive at times. The series toned that down. I guess they wanted to keep the tone lighter and more watchable for a broader audience.
Yeah, and to be fair, that kind of change actually makes sense for television. Unlike books, which give you time to set with a character's thoughts, TV needs to hook people emotionally right away. There's no inner monologue, so they rely more in chemistry, visuals, and pacing.
Oh yeah, exactly, Janine. And while they trimmed some parts, they added others that really made the series shine. Like those Max and Dave moments during their school project. They weren't exactly in the book, but they added so much colleague and depth to their growing closeness.
I have to give props to the writers for expanding the roles of the side characters. Randall and Michiko were more like background players in the book, but in the series, they had their own arcs, emotion, and love stories. It created this layered of high school world where everyone had a role to play.
Yes, and it made the friendship dynamics richer too. The barkadahan scenes, the group hangouts, even the petty dramas. It felt like an actual high school experience. Those weren't always detailed in the book, but they brought so much life to the adaptation.
So in a way, the series and the book each had their own strengths. The book gave us depth and slow-burn emotion. The series gave us visual pace, killing, and expand character arcs. They complement each other so much.
Honestly, it's the best of both worlds. The emotional core stayed intact, but we got more kilig, more barkadahan moments, and a more vibrant take on the world Max and Dave lived in. Let's go deeper. Why do you think He's Into Her touched so many hearts, especially among teens and young adults?
For me, as a teenager, it's because the story teaches you that love isn't just about romance. It's about acceptance. And I believe we all can relate to that. I can relate to that in my relationship. In this story, Max Payne had so many layers. She was angry, confused, defensive. But beneath that, she just wants to feel safe and seen. Oh my god, like, I can so relate to her. And I think a lot of us have been there and we can relate to that type of relationship too, whether it's from family, friends, or your lovers. It's not just about finding love in someone else. It's also about learning to love yourself. Despite your scars, your insecurities, your past mistakes, that kind of message hits deep inside me, especially when you're still figuring out who you are and who you want to be in your relationship.
Yeah.
And another thing, it showed how love doesn't mean changing who you are for someone else. Max Payne didn't change to impress Dave, and Dave didn't magically become a good guy overnight. They grew with each other, not for each other, but for each other. That's the kind of love that's healthy and inspiring. Like, people change, people develop, and I can really relate to that type of.
That's so true. The story tells you it's okay to be a work in progress as long as you keep showing up for yourself and for the people who matter.
And that sometimes the real love story isn't just between two people, it's the one you build with yourself.
Yeah.
And that's a wrap for today's episode of Book and Screen, your weekly dose of stories that lift off the page and light up the screen.
Big thanks to our incredible guests, Viana and Leonard, for joining us today. You both brought so much insight, emotion, and energy to our little storytelling circle.
Aww, thank you so much for having me. This was such a fun deep dive. His Into Her will always have a special place in my heart, and I'm glad we got to unpack it together.
Yeah, same here. I love getting to reflect on the story again, both the feels and the flaws. And honestly, I'd love to be back for another episode of our segment here. Maybe Wattpad to Netflix next time.
Now, that's a solid idea. And to everyone listening, if you haven't yet read He's Into Her on Wattpad, please do yourself a favor. It's more than a love story. It's a journey of self-discovery, healing, and finding light in unexpected places. So join us again next time here on Book and Screen, where we turn your favorite pages into unforgettable pictures and discover what makes story come alive.
Bye, everyone.
See you next